Support WrestleTalk!
Be kind to each other in the comments.
It looks like we're getting Karrion Kross versus Kyle O'Reilly for the NXT Championship at some point soon. Welcome to the WrestleTalk Podcast review of NXT. I am Corporate Chopper Pete. I am joined by Tempest the Wrestler. Subscribe to him on YouTube.
Please.
How many subs are you at now?
I passed 2,000 a week or two ago when good personal friend of the channel, Chris Jericho, retweeted my video, which was a nice bump. But working on a new video about a New Japan topic. A lot of people have been asking about that, so should be a lot of fun. Please subscribe.
Very good. But yes, let's talk about NXT. Also, get in your Ultrachats because we're going to be going through them. WrestleTalk.com/support. Link is on the screen right now. And if you want to get your messages in that get read out on the show, you can send them in there and we'll do that. We'll read them out before we get out of here today. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is this Kyle O'Reilly Karrion Kross teased feud from what it looked like on the show. Because the show starts off with Kyle O'Reilly, new theme song and all. It comes down with his brand new look of Cool Kyle. That's his thing now. It's just being Cool Kyle because he's got sunglasses, he's got a fedora, and he's super cool and he's rad, you know. And he came out and he cut a promo. I thought it was fine. I'm a little worried about them that they've gone, oh, Kyle O'Reilly's people really like Kyle O'Reilly because he's cool. Let's do what we think is cool. And they've just gone, do all the cool things, Kyle. Here's all these cool things that you should do. And it's like, no, but Kyle's cool because he's being Kyle O'Reilly. And that Kyle O'Reilly's really cool. This felt like it was kind of a manufactured cool, which is the opposite of cool.
Because we lost our minds on Friday when they kept replaying the UFO clip that Cesaro did at WrestleMania because it felt like, oh guys, this is really cool, check this out. This felt a lot of the same way, you know, because it didn't feel authentic. And that to me is the biggest part when you're trying to get over a babyface as being cool. It's like when Roman Reigns was cutting all those promos in 2015 saying suffer and succotash and tater tots and such and such. It's like, yeah, but that's not cool. We'll tell you what we think is cool. And I didn't think Kyle O'Reilly was super cool here.
No, which is a shame because naturally Kyle O'Reilly's very cool.
Absolutely.
They just kind of didn't quite do it. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't bad by any means. I wasn't actively rejecting everything they were doing. It just wasn't quite as good as I would want for what seems to be, you know, one of their new top stars, because that was the whole point of the Adam Cole match, was making Kyle O'Reilly the new big star in NXT. And this felt a little off, but the promo itself, he teased challenging Karrion Kross, and he said, I've got all the time in the world. Oh, time? I must be talking about Karrion Kross. And it's like, that's a weird segue. Okay.
I thought he was talking about Kushida.
Yeah.
This is Back to the Future.
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about that later because Kushida had a bit of a change in this episode as well. Cameron Grimes then comes out instead before he can actually finish properly challenging Karrion Kross. Cameron Grimes comes out and the two kind of do this thing where Cameron Grimes wants to like invest in Kyle and Kyle pretends that he's on side and says, I'm proud of you and all your stonks, which is actually kind of funny. It's a good meme. And then it was a weird bit where it took a while for him to say that he's going to be challenging Grimes, and like everyone knew that he was going to have a match against Cameron Grimes. But he's like, oh, I saw my opponent somewhere around here, and was looking around for ages. He's like, no, still can't see him. Who is it? Took ages, took his sunglasses off, and then kind of put them on and was like, oh, I don't know if I still can't see it. It's like, get to the point. We know where this is going. Get to the point, please. And then he put them on and said, oh, no, it is you. And then punched him in the face. And it set up the main event of Kyle O'Reilly versus Cameron Grimes, which, again, this was fine. This was a perfectly acceptable segment, which isn't quite what you want for your new top star. I think the hype coming out of Stand and Deliver, this didn't deliver on the hype that they'd built up from that show. that was the only the bit that kind of got me.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head there. Like, Kyle O'Reilly now is supposed to be the top babyface in NXT, and watching this, it felt more like a low mid-card feud. You know, it didn't feel like he was significantly higher than Cameron Grimes on the totem pole, and that's kind of what you want in a segment like this. Also, I'm going to bring this up later in the show as well, but I really don't like the babyface just punching the heel for seemingly no reason. Like, we know that Cameron Grimes is a heel, and they're going to have a match and all that, but I mean, it wasn't very nice of Kyle to just punch him. Like, Cameron Grimes was trying to be his friend and everything.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're like Steve Austin, who stuns everyone and has no friends, I don't know. I like my baby faces to be a little bit more virtuous. I would say.
And I mean, I think if Grimes had come out and pretended to want to invest but had like insulted him in the process of being like, I don't know, oh, you were always, second fiddle in the Undisputed Era, but now you've beaten Adam Cole, well, maybe I'm ready to invest you or whatever, like some really like backhanded compliment. There's a reason for Cole to do it, but he just came out and was like, you're really good, I want to invest in you. And he's like, no, I'm going to punch you in the face. That's basically how the segment went, but oh well. Which led into later on the main event match itself. As Kyle O'Reilly was about to make his entrance for the main event match against Grimes, he goes backstage, and just before he's about to walk on the ramp to make his entrance, Karrion Kross and Scarlett are standing there. Karrion Kross with the NXT Championship, and they both just stare down, really, really cool like. And then Kyle makes his entrance. So it does look like that's the direction we're going, from the overt tease in the opening promo and this tease here. I don't know whether they're going to do it soon or whether that's going to be like, a kind of, this is just a thing down the line that they're going to do. But I'm interested. I don't know what's going to, I feel like if they did it now or like soon, I feel like Karrion should win that match.
Yes.
Maybe later if they had Karrion do a couple other challenges first and maybe build up Kyle even more past his Adam Cole win, then maybe I could see Kyle beating him. But right now, I don't quite see it.
Yeah, to me, it's the similar thing that we were talking about on SmackDown with Roman Reigns and Cesaro, where if they do that match at SummerSlam, I think Cesaro should win. But if they do it at Backlash, I don't think Cesaro is going to win. I feel it the same way here. Like, there's probably going to be a takeover event between now and the summer takeover. And if this is the main event of the first takeover since Stand and Deliver, I don't think Kyle is winning. Because, I mean, I don't think you're going to give Karrion Kross just like a 2-month title reign. I think that's got to be a lot longer. But if it happens at the summer show, I think there's a better chance that Kyle comes out on top. I would really like that because I think Kyle is the kind of top babyface NXT champion that this brand could use to actually feel a little bit like renewed. Because I don't know. We haven't seen enough of Karrion Kross so far to really get a sense of what he's going to be as champion. But I don't know. Kyle as champion just sounds fun to me. I like that idea.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I think, though, it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing if they did face off at the next takeover and Kyle lost. That could then play into a future story where Kyle has to kind of rebuild himself up again and get to another point where he can challenge again down the line, not at the next pay-per-view, because that's rematches are bad. But like, 2, 3, 4, 5 takeovers down the line and Kyle challenges again, then he can win kind of thing. That would be, I think, a solid story. So I'm not against them doing it soon. I just think if they do it soon, Kyle shouldn't win yet. Because he's got the one big win over Cole, but I think he needs more kind of top tier caliber wins to keep that momentum going. But the main event match itself, though, I thought was really fun stuff. Because it's easy to write off Cameron Grimes like, oh, he's just the comedy character. He's just, he's the guy who does the thing with the stocks, and that's about it. And you can forget he's a really good wrestler. Like, really good. And obviously, Kyle O'Reilly's fantastic. And the two of them, I thought, went back and forth really well in this match. Like, the pacing was really good, really fun, innovative spots. They built up like this kind of like black hole slam move by Grimes that they kept kind of teasing a couple times, and then he hit it. And I was like, oh, God, that's a big thing. there's always that the Spanish fly crossbody thing that Grimes always does, and every time I'm like, how does he do that? There's really fun action, but eventually Carl put him away as he should, doing the knee that he did to Adam Cole, where takeover off the middle rope and kneeing him on the back of the head. But a really fun match, and I think both of them looked better coming out of the main event, which is exactly what you want to happen, really. So I thought it was really, really good, solid stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I thought this was a match that really could have fit in to like the peak of NXT, because there was a long stretch there for a few years where they would have just like a top guy and a mid-level guy have a really, really good match in the main event of NXT, and obviously the top guy goes over. Like, this isn't a match where you have the angles where you got to get Cameron Grimes over. Like, this isn't the Cameron Grimes segment. This is the Kyle O'Reilly segment, but you can do that in a way that makes both guys look good. And this was just like a perfect example of that, because you got, again, Cameron Grimes doing that weird flipping crossbody thing. You had him do a backflip into a German suplex that people were just raving about. Like, it was a really fun match. It was really, really good. And this is now 2 weeks in a row that I've really enjoyed the NXT main event. So, of course, like, aside from TakeOver, which was just, it was great. But in terms of just weekly NXT TV, if they keep doing this, whether it's like an 8-person tag or a really fun singles match in the main event, like, this is what I loved NXT for originally, because you could just see really good wrestling that didn't like frustrate you, you know? And that was what this was, and I loved it. It's so good.
Nice clean finish. It's just my NXT, man. My NXT's back.
I love it. I loved NXT so much. I missed it.
Nice clean finish. The right person won. Really good action. Both people got over. Big thumbs up, all in all. I thought it was good, solid stuff. And I think if they are going to do an O'Reilly Kross feud, O'Reilly shouldn't win yet, but I could see him winning it down the line as like the company's new top babyface guy, because that's what he do.
He could be sort of like this year's version of like Johnny Gargano, where Johnny Gargano didn't win the NXT championship on his first try. It took him several tries to win that title, and it made the payoff that much better. But like, I mean, everyone still remembers the match that he had with Andrade. Like, it's very hard to forget. So you have Kyle O'Reilly go out and have like a really great babyface showing in a main event match, but lose. You can still get over. It'll still be great. It's Kyle O'Reilly. Like,
absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Let's see what you guys thought. Let's get into some of your Ultra Chats. If you guys want to Ultra Chat in, make sure to get them in at the link on the screen right now, WrestleTalk.com/support, and we will get through every single one of them before the show ends today. Bacon Rasher comes in to say, hi lads, why is it a week into these reviews we get a mediocre NXT? Matches were good, but I didn't like much else. Was really looking forward to the O'Reilly promo. I was let down by the script writers and him. P.S. When is Tempest joining Bald It Club? But you're not bald.
I'm not. Look at this hair.
It's a lot of hair.
My hair is actually quite long. It sticks out the bottom of my mask. You can see it. It's right there. Yeah. It's true. So I don't remember who exactly it was, but someone on Twitter is just like, oh, Tempest and Pete can be like Team Bald or something. And I'm like, I'm not bald. This is not like I'm not saying that it's bad to be bald. I'm just not bald. And you can clearly see that I'm not. It's more of just like, are you blind? Like, it's right here, you know?
Yep.
I'll get there one day. Believe me, it's going fast, but I'm not there yet.
And for the other part of that Ultra Chat, we'd say it was a fairly average NXT, I'd say. It was just kind of it was perfectly adequate. I mean, we'll get into more of it later, but it was like a lot of it was just like these stories progressed. There you go.
This is the thing. I don't want it to be like, oh, we didn't get much out of NXT. This is what I want out of NXT. This is when NXT was really, really good. Was when you didn't have the big, crazy, wacky angles every week. You had just good, consistent week-to-week storytelling with really good matches. that's what I really fell in love with NXT in like 2015 with Balor and Owens and Sami Zayn and whatnot. And then again in like 2017, 2018 with Cole and the Undisputed Era and Johnny Gargano and DIY and all that stuff. That was when NXT to me was at its best. And if we're getting back to that, I'm not going to complain that like, oh, not enough happened on NXT this week. That is not a problem that I have personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm in agreement of just saying that, we just want logical progression, which is mostly what we got on this show, which is good. Apparently, I've got a note here from the moderator saying that joining the Bald It Club, they're asking for you to shave off your hair. When are you going to do that?
Not anytime super soon.
Mm-hmm.
I will be honest, I haven't gotten a haircut since before the pandemic started, so that may be in order. The last haircut that I got was right before AEW Revolution in 2020 because I was going there and I wanted to look sharp, and the pandemic started and I thought, hey, we'll be out of this in 3 months. This will be my quarantine hair because I normally get a haircut like every 2 months anyway. So if it's like, oh, an extra month, whatever, and then I don't know. It kind of became like a thing. I was like, this is just going to be my pandemic hair. And it's still growing.
Still there. Still going. We've got a couple of general NXT chats here. One from Charles Berg that says, let's praise some excellent camera cuts that led to what is, in my opinion, a very good comedic moment. Having the grizzled young vets cutting a fiery promo while occasionally cutting to Breezango looking like the dumbest guys on earth. Chef's kiss. I thought that was very good. Yes. I
thought he was talking about a different moment, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty good. We'll talk about that more later when we talk about that segment. Yes. Sadie6969 Deegan says, hello, boys. Hope y'all are having a great day. So Kyle O'Reilly is Orange Cassidy now? Lol.
Wow. I didn't think of that.
Seeing Io without the title was strange, but excited to see her versus Taya. Love their matches in Stardom. Also, Sarray looks really cool. Can't wait to see more. Love y'all. Well, we love you too. Thank you very much for chatting in. Yes, we'll get on to most of those points. Also, Kyle O'Reilly is Orange Cassidy. Yeah, kind of.
I mean, look-wise, sunglasses and a denim jacket. That's kind of the look with like a white graphic tee underneath. Yeah. That is kind of like the look that that Orange Cassidy has trademarked as his own. So I hadn't thought of that, but now that you say it, I do see it. They both got kind of like the gingery hair too.
Yeah.
A lot more similarities.
Next week, Kyle O'Reilly's going to come out and just do a half-hearted thumbs up, and we're all going to go, oh no. Nothing wrong with Orange Cassidy. I'm just going to throw that out there because people could misinterpret that one. Nothing wrong with Orange Cassidy. Kyle O'Reilly is not Orange Cassidy and shouldn't be Orange Cassidy. Just saying. Anyway, we'll get into more of your Ultra Chats before we get out of here at the tail end of the show. Get them in, WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll get through all of them before we end the show. For now, let's talk about the rest of the episode. And so we started off with that Kyle O'Reilly promo. We then got a backstage segment with Sarray arriving at NXT, and a very excited Zoe Stark comes out to meet her and says, hey, I'm going to want to normally do this. I mean, we don't know that. We've only just seen you, Zoe Stark. But I really love a match against Sarray, please, Mr. William Regal, who's also there. Can I have that? And I was like, Sarray, are you okay with this? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And then they shake hands and they've got a match later. Sarray versus Zoe Stark. I was like, okay, I like it. For some reason, I think this is absolutely just a me thing. I automatically just go like, was that a heel thing? Is that a tease of a heel thing? Is she being a heel? She inserting herself into a match? And it's just like, no, she's just excited and wants a match. That's it. That's all it is. Yeah, I mean that was all right.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot to it. It didn't bother me here because this is still like earlier in the day and everything. But one of the things that in WWE programming always drives me nuts is when, if you look at it logically, when they start the show without a main event, because it's like, that would never happen. You're telling me you're going to go onto your national televised broadcast with no plan for what the show is going to be. Like, no, incorrect. So when I see them like starting, it's like, oh, we'll we'll have you, and you can both find a tag team partner and wrestle in the main event of Raw. I was like, so what was your plan for the main event of Raw if these two didn't start arguing? You know? So I did like that they said in this segment that like William Regal had an opponent planned for Sarray and then he changed it. Like if he didn't have any opponent scheduled, I was like, not really doing your job then, are you, Mr. General Manager?
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case, so I didn't have too much of an issue with it.
Yes, that was very good. Although I feel sorry for whoever Sarray's opponent was. It was just like, you're just not working anymore. Sorry.
No.
We might as well talk about that match.
If you've ever worked a wrestling show, that is very real. That is a real situation. Oh, you're on the show? Sorry, not anymore.
Yeah, makes sense. But we might as well talk about that match now, which came later in the show. Zoe Stark versus Sarray, which I thought was really fun. Really, really good. You can tell that NXT clearly have some plans for Zoe Stark, just from the way they were booking the match. Like she got in a fair amount of offense as well, but this was made to highlight Sarray and what she could do. It was very good, really good action towards the end. Really, really enjoyed like the last like couple minutes of this match. It was some really like tense, close, cool action. But Sarray managed to pick up the win with this kind of like. Here's a question: do you think this was botched? Because not the move, but the pin, because she hit this kind of like side suplex thing, which looked pretty cool. And she went to go do the 3 count, and it's kind of at like 3.5. So after the referees called it, Zoe kind of half put her arm up, and I was like, "Were you supposed to do that earlier?" Like, something just didn't like ring true with me here. It was very strange. I mean, it was still great. Like the finish still worked for me. It was just odd that she kind of like half kicked out a bit late as well. I was like, what was that? Yeah.
I mean, if Sarray's finishing move is still the Exploder Suplex next week, then we might have a better idea, because it didn't feel like they really like put over it like, oh, this is her move at the end. So we'll have a better idea going forward. But I thought the match was like, it was really fun. Again, this was the Sarray showcase match. So Zoe Stark was able to get in a lot of offense, but it wasn't like, this wasn't the night to show off Zoe Stark. She wasn't getting in like the really impressive, cool moves. She was just working her over a little bit. It was still respectful. She wasn't cheating, but it was like, oh, she just hit a clothesline and then got the heat for the sake of the match before Sarray finally made her come back and then won. I liked it. I go back and forth on the idea of beating Zoe Stark right after her match with Toni Storm, because in my mind, I would just have people win if they're supposed to be doing something and building to something else, as opposed to just losing like her next match after having beaten Toni Storm. But she's an underneath character, and that was portrayed as like a fluky win, you know, with a roll up. So it doesn't bother me that much. But if I were writing the show, I would just have the people that I'm pushing win. That's just me, and it's not WWE. So I can't like hold it against them that much, because I know that that's not the way that they operate, but I would prefer that it would be, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not against Zoe Stark losing here, just because I think she got over in defeat. I think she got in enough offense and she still looked good enough coming out of it, but you did want to have Sarray win in her debut match, obviously. So yes. I don't think it was a bad thing.
I will say, I'm not saying that Sarray should have lost her debut match. You know, that is definitely not the case here. I'm just saying, you know, maybe I don't know who is left on the NXT women's roster that's like below Zoe Stark that you could beat, besides like Aaliyah, who I would not put in a position to have Sarray's debut
Kaden
match.
Carter.
Sure. Yeah. Something like that, you know, but again, it was fine. It was a really good match. This is just me kind of nitpicking and thinking of how things could have been done better.
Yeah, and then afterwards, Stark and Sarray hug, and as Stark's leaving, she gets attacked from behind by Toni Storm, who she beat at Stand and Deliver. Who kind of beats her up on the outside a little bit. Which I think, because Sarray was then checking on Stark afterwards, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Sarray versus Storm match soon. And have that be a bit more of maybe like a bigger match kind of thing. Because the Stark one was solid and it was a bit back and forth, but I think that one's going to be a proper like big, possibly even like a main event of NXT kind of style match. of those two going back and forth, with Sarray getting the win on that one. I think that's likely, I would think. I think it would be cool if they'd originally said that it was going to be Toni Storm versus Sarray in Sarray's debut match, and Storm got bumped for Stark, just to kind of further that whole thing of like Storm being annoyed at Stark and Sarray combined kind of thing. I think that would work.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea, actually, because it builds off of, like, right now, all we have to go off of is that she's upset that she lost, which is like, that's fine. That's like kind of like bare minimum heel shtick. But if you add that in, it's just like another layer that you can add to it, and more layers to a storyline to me is always better. So absolutely,
yeah, 100%. I've seen a lot of people in the chat have been saying that Ronda Rousey's just announced that she's pregnant.
Oh, well.
Which is pretty wild. But congratulations to Ronda Rousey. If that is the case, I haven't fact checked that. Fact checker.
Yeah,
we've got one here.
That's my job.
But yeah, if that is the case, congratulations to Ronda. That's really cool. Suppose that rules out any sort of WWE return in the near future. But anyway,
and
after
confirm
that,
Ronda Rousey is pregnant, expecting due date September 22nd.
Cool. Well, congratulations to Ronda. Very nice, wholesome stuff. After that, going off the backstage promo we had earlier, we had LA Knight cut a little promo backstage before his match with Dexter Lumis. Promo I thought was pretty good. He's a good promo. And you know what? I thought this match was all right. I quite liked it. Because I think, as you mentioned in your edited review, neither of these guys are known for their pure like in-ring wrestling caliber. They're good workers, but they're just not like, the Kyle O'Reillys and the Adam Coles of this world. But this I thought was a pretty fun match. I quite enjoyed the in-ring action that actually happened. But then it got to the angle, which, so we've spoken about this on last week's episode, and a lot of people didn't agree with us because we said we don't like this story of Indy Hartwell and Dexter Lumis and them being in love and the whole Way getting involved and blah, 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 blah. We weren't fans. So I'll say this week I enjoyed it more than last week. There's my positive. Still not a huge fan, but I did enjoy it more than last week. Because in this match here, Indy Hartwell is in the crowd. They kind of have a moment where they, between the perspex glass and the cage thing that they have in the CWC, they both kind of put their hands together on the opposite side of the glass, which was a cute little moment. And then they kind of walk across to where there's no barrier protecting them. I was like, why don't you just do that in the first place? Whatever. And then, but then they kind of, they're being, they're in a trance. They're so in love. And then LA Knight attacks Dexter Lumis. Dexter gets distracted by Indy again at ringside, and LA Knight wins with like a neck breaker, stunner, cutter through the ropes. Don't know what it was, but it was fine. But LA Knight picks up the win. Dexter Lumis was distracted. But then after the match, it looks like Indy gets up on the apron and they're very close to kissing. She even puts out her lips for the kiss. But then the Way come out and break them up. Boo, heels. Let them kiss or whatever. And then they take Indy Hartwell away.
All right, you want me to go?
Right. It's all right. It's fine. Everyone's loving it and I don't get the love. It's fine. At best.
All
it's
right. Fine. Give me the hot tag. I'll tag in.
Come on in, Tempest. Let's make the chat mad.
Yeah. Because I will say, I have more fury to unleash in the later segment as opposed to here. Because I agree. I thought this week was more entertaining than last week. I love the moment where they're like touching hands and they walk over and then Indy trips. Because she's still kind of like the geek heel in all of this. I did really like that moment. And that was the moment that I was thinking of when they were talking about the camera work and liking to capture that moment. Because I really liked that. I thought that was really like, it was a cute little moment. The issues that I have with this segment are, I get that you have to do these segments like on TV during matches. You got to weave them into things. But like theoretically, why is she distracting this guy that she likes? Why is he not upset about having lost? And why is he interested? Like, again, people, like a lot of people in the chat last week were saying like, well, he's the bad boy. He's, the strong silent type, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's not like he's John Travolta in Grease, driving up in a motorcycle with his leather jacket and a cigarette, like that's not, I don't get it. I don't get it. And that's fine. Like you can get it. And I don't have to get it. That's okay. But I just it doesn't click with me why all of this is happening. Like, again, people were really hammering it home that like, well, this is like the family dynamic and Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae are the overbearing parents and Austin Theory is like the douchey son. And then she's the rebellious daughter who's going after the bad boy. It's like, that's cool. I get that. That's not the issue. That's actually the part of the angle that I really like, because I like the Way's interactions and everything that they do. Everything's being portrayed really well. Like the acting and everything is really good. No problems there. But I don't understand why this is happening still. Besides just, well, he's the bad boy. You see, women it's like, I don't like that. I don't like it when over the last year, like nothing has made me think that Dexter Lumis is going to go out and get a love interest on this show when he's like kidnapping people and tying people up and throwing them in trunks of cars and at some time like appearing as a ghost in the crowd for Roderick Strong. Like, I don't get it. And that's the easiest way that I can say it. It's just, I don't get it. It doesn't click with me. This isn't my angle. So I'll get more into it later, but
yeah,
I don't know. The match was fine.
Yeah,
I like the match.
I like
again.
The match
if you just have Dexter Lumis wrestle and not be like a freak, I like it.
Yeah. No, he's good. We then got after that a backstage promo. I can't remember what order. I forgot to write this one down, so I just put it in here. Can't remember if it was here or later, but Leon Ruff did a promo backstage, which on its own, very good promo. Really, really solid stuff. Like the content was really good like fire, had like really good like passion behind it. The problem is he's still feuding with Swerve, and that feud is done. And we've mentioned this a lot. Just they're done now. And this felt like a babyface promo, and Ruff continuing this feud on is a heel thing to do because you lost, son, twice. So like, that's it. That's the thing. You've lost. You extending this out is the heel thing to do because you can't accept the fact that you've lost. But this felt like a babyface promo, and it just doesn't mesh. I don't know.
Yeah. This goes across like all levels of WWE programming right now. Is I really don't like the trend of we've reached the end of the story and we go one more time. Normally, if they wanted to do this, there would be something in the match where, Isaiah Swerve Scott like cheats to win or something like that. Not that I'm saying like, I don't think this rivalry should have extended at all. Like this, to me, it was done. But if you're going to do it, you have to give them a reason to wrestle again. And just having one of the guys attack the other after the match, after the conclusive finish, end to the rivalry, it feels unnecessary. Like we got the appropriate ending and we're just going for one more chapter. I don't like that. Yes.
But after that, we got, or maybe before that, I don't know, I forgot the order of the things. We got a sit-down interview with Io Shirai. Who came back. A lot of people expected her to maybe be called up to the main roster after she dropped the title to Raquel Gonzalez. Doesn't look like that's going to be happening because she had a sit-down interview with Beth Phoenix here, who kind of just said, here's you winning the NXT Women's Championship here. What did you think in this moment kind of thing? And let's take a look back at your match with Raquel Gonzalez. What were you feeling after you got powerbombed to the outside? She was like, that hurt. I was like, really? Who'd have thought? But interestingly, she said she wants a rematch with Raquel Gonzalez at some point. However, what she needs right now is some rest. She just wants to take some time away. She said she's been defending the title for 300 plus days. She just needs some time for her body to just heal up a bit. And you know what? I think that's real. I think that is literally, she just wants some time away. She's just going to take some time off and she's going to come back. But then she gets interrupted by Frankie Monet and her dog. Frankie Monet basically says, "Hey, you've had a great reign. I'm really, really happy for you. I'm really glad that you've had this reign. While you're away, though, I am going to be replacing you as top of the women's division, just so you know." Which was good stuff. Solid little promo. But then Io Shirai, as you mentioned on your website coverage, I think of NXT, did the biggest heel turn in the history of heel turns for Io Shirai, saying that she likes cats and then walked away. What? You can't say that, Io. Dogs are great. It's the worst.
Yeah. Well, to me, this segment was like the opposite of that first segment on the show with Kyle O'Reilly, where this felt very like authentic. Maybe not the Frankie Monet walking in and interrupting everything, but just the sit down interview portion. I was like, yeah, all of this, I can totally suspend my disbelief and watch this and believe that Io Shirai wants to take some time off after having been champion for almost a year. That's excellent stuff. Love it. Perfect. And then I think Io Shirai and Frankie Monet will be a good match. Like, I have no reason to think it wouldn't be. I don't know when exactly we're going to get that match. If Io Shirai is going to take time, maybe this will come after all of that. I don't know. But I'm looking forward to seeing the match. And as a segment, this gets a thumbs up for people saying that I only nitpick things. I like this segment. Yay. Things are good on this show, guys. I enjoyed this show.
Yep. This was a pretty solid segment. By the way, nothing wrong with cats. Nothing against cats. But when you've got a dog there and then you say angrily to the person, "I like cats," you're insinuating that you don't like dogs. And that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Bloody EO. Sort it out. After that, we got a tag team match between the Grizzled Young Veterans and Breezango. I rolled my eyes to start with, because it came back from, I think, an ad break. Breezango were in the ring. They were dressed as Beefeaters, which is the British Royal Guard thing, is with the big black hats. Everyone knows them. And I was like, what the hell are they doing? Why are they... What is Breezango? Fashion Files. They've fallen so far from that. What is going on with this? Then the Grizzled Young Veterans music hit, and I was like, okay, this makes way more sense. All right, I kind of get this now. And then, of course, that set up Grizzled Young Vets to cut a very good promo. Zach Gibson is genuinely one of my favorite promos. He's just the best. And just him saying, like, it's this, you bloody Yanks, you know, you're so disrespectful. Jog on. I just love his, like, as an English man, I just love his, like, his verbiage and just doing, like, the traditional, like, English slang and just be like, yeah, jog on, get out of here. It was really cool. And then, set up a cool match. And Grizzled Young Vets mentioned in that opening promo saying, MSK, I hope you're watching, just kind of keeps that plate spinning of them wanting the NXT tag titles down the line without actually having them do it now, because it doesn't look like they're going to be doing that right now, which thumbs up again, because it's not an immediate rematch, which I'm all for. I thought this was pretty good.
Well, I mean, as far as just the promo and everything, I think that Grizzled Young Veterans are just about like the most complete package for a tag team in NXT right now. Like, their work in the ring is fantastic. I will get into the match, but I loved one of the moments in this match. Just I gushed over it in the edited review. But so rarely nowadays in WWE do you get an act that actually can cut a really good promo within the confines of the WWE system. And Grizzled Young Veterans very clearly can. And that's a very good asset to have. Like, if you're a really good wrestler and you can cut a promo with WWE style, and also you have like a good look, which Grizzled Young Veterans do, I think they've got it, man. Like, I think this is like the WWE tag team system and everything doesn't matter at all, so I'm not going to judge them based on that kind of success, but they can be like the next great tag team of NXT, something that was missing for a long time. And I'm very, very excited about that. Like, I had to cut it from my edited review, but I thought they were like the new version of the Revival, essentially, where it's like the Undisputed Era were like the cocky, douchey heels, gonna make fun of you guys, like, what a nerd. But these guys are just like, they're just bad. They don't want to be cool. They just want to beat you in any way that they can. And I love that. These are like perfect heels. Excellent stuff.
Yep, 100% agree. And yeah, I thought the match itself was very, very good. We'll talk about that one spot because I also really want to talk about it because, like you said, it gave me that kind of Revival vibe of them just being like the biggest out and out heels they can possibly be and just bending the rules to the nth degree, where James Drake comes off the turnbuckle and pretends he feigns a knee injury. Like he lands and is immediately like drops to the floor, like goes over to the ropes, like no, and like pulls like his pads down and everything, is trying to like get it checked on him. I think the selling of this from everyone was really great because like Breeze hops off the apron and goes to like lean in to like check, and he's like, hey, I'm just checking, is he okay? And like Fandango comes over, just kind of like hands on hips, being like, is he okay? Like, what's going on? Zach Gibson comes over and he's just like, oh, is everything okay? And just as the referee bends down, he just turns around and just gives a thumb to the eye to Breezango. And immediately James Drake just gets to his feet. He was like, cool, good to go, let's go. And it's so simple, but it's just the most pure heel, perfect work that you can do. I love the Grizzled Young Vets so much. This was a brilliant spot.
My heart melted when I saw this. Like I love good heel work, like good proper heel work more than just about anything in wrestling. Like the Revival when they were in NXT would do this sort of thing like all the time. They did I think it was their match against American Alpha in Dallas, the one that everyone really loves, where they were up on the top rope and doing this, and they hopped down and like stomped on his face or raked his eyes or something like that. And I was like, you're just such perfect heels, just such perfect bad guys. And that's exactly what I want out of a heel team like this. It just, so good. I could not have like booked this better. This was a perfect spot in the confines of a match. Like, could not be done better. Picture perfect.
Yep. And that managed to turn the tide for Grizzled Young Vets. They pretty much had control of the match up until the finish, which was them hitting a ticket to Mayhem on Breeze, and they got the win. Great. Loved it. Good stuff all around.
Thumbs up. I really like their finish too. It's kind of like, it's a little similar to the Shatter Machine, but I don't care. It's the Shatter Machine is one of the coolest tag finishers, so if you have something that's kind of like that, awesome.
Cool. Yeah. Great. We then had Indy Hartwell backstage for a promo. So she wanted to say some things about Dexter Lumis, but very quickly the Way all came in and was like, no, cut the feed, not doing this, not having this promo, just stop. My next note here, which you're not going to like, Tempest, is I put, I'm actually kind of getting the Lumis story now, regrettably. And I'm sorry, but this was all right. I quite enjoyed this segment.
I didn't have a problem with this segment. I will say, like, we're still cool here, Pete.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Yeah. I got it a bit more in this segment alone. I got it a bit more, which is different to all the other segments. They all come in. Bronson Reed comes in and starts mouthing off, just being like, "Hey, why you gotta crap all over their love? Love is great. Let them be in love." And then Austin Theory says that the only way that Reed gets another title shot at Johnny Gargano's North American Championship is if he can beat Austin Theory, because Theory went to William Regal and said, this is what he wanted. And Bronson says, all right, and then walks off. And Gargano is a bit annoyed and is just like, what the hell, man? Why'd you go to Regal? Why did you do that? He pinned you last week. Do you not remember? You idiot. Which again, I just like the interactions between the Way. I'm really enjoying their. It's really difficult because I still don't think this is the best use of Johnny Gargano. However, I really like the dynamic they've got with the Way. And I wasn't fully on board with last week's show. This week, though, I really like the dynamics they've got. I think Austin Theory is doing some really good work as well as that kind of bit of an idiot understudy to Johnny. Kept calling him Papa John, which is great. Love that. Yeah, it's just I quite liked it. I quite liked this segment. Quite liked it, Tempest.
That's okay, Pete, because I like this segment too. Like,
yeah,
I enjoy the interactions within the Way. Like, they all play their roles really well. And I, at least in this segment, when Bronson Reed is like, I want another shot, at least he won last week. That is at least something where he beat the understudy of Johnny Gargano and is like, yeah, I want another shot. I can roll with that. There's another piece of title shot verbiage coming later in the show that I was not on board with. But for now, I liked this. And this doesn't really matter, but I'm getting a little bit tired of this. Is just a wrestling trope. This happens everywhere where we have a scheduled interview with Indy Hartwell. Indy, what do you think? No. Immediately interrupts the interview. And this happens on like every show. And I was like, can we just get an interview for once? Like, just like can we just have the person ask the question and get an answer? This is a bigger problem that I have with AEW than WWE, because that it's become like a parody now where it's like, it's Sting. All right, Sting, what do you think? No, my turn. My turn.
Team Taz, here we go.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, that's just a wrestling thing that I noticed here. I was like, oh, they're doing it again. But again, liked this segment. We're still cool for now, Pete.
We're still all right. Also, we need to pick up the pace because we've already been going for 45 minutes. Otherwise, it's going to be a very long episode. We had Cameron Grimes backstage. He was bidding on an NFT and got outbid by Ted DiBiase. Funny. And it looks like we're going to be getting some sort of Ted DiBiase thing. Ted DiBiase said so on, I think it was an interview or a podcast or something, saying that he was going to go to NXT and work a thing with Cameron Grimes. They've already started teasing that here. I'm on board. It should be really stupid and really funny. I'm on board. This is great. This is
WWE comedy done well. And I love the idea of Ted DiBiase interacting with a young talent and elevating him. So this to me was like great. I love Cameron Grimes in this role.
Yep. We then got that Zoe Stark-Sarray match that we mentioned before. Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai had a backstage promo. Gonzalez saying she wants to take out everyone one by one till no one's left standing, which was cool. We then had... We are going to have to spend a little bit of time on this one because it's Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae backstage. Walking.
This is the one, Pete.
Yeah, I know. I'm just going to say the facts of what happened. So, Indy and Candice are walking backstage. Candice is talking to Indy Hartwell. Indy gets distracted because Dexter Lumis behind a glass door is just there looking like a creep. And just kind of, because it's kind of like half like frosted and half just like clear glass. And he just kind of pokes his head over the frosted bit and he's just kind of standing there. Candice LeRae keeps talking to Indy like she's still with her and walks off. But Indy gets distracted by Dexter and is still talking to him or goes and does something with him at the door. Who knows? We don't see it. Candice walks on like Indy's still with her and runs into Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. And she says, the titles belong to us. We're the best. We're the Way. We should get another shot. And then Ember and Shotzi be like, oh yeah, what does Indy think of that? And Candice turns around and Indy isn't there. She goes, oh no. And then Ember and Shotzi literally drag her into the locker room and beat her up. And then, later on, we'll talk about this now, Indy Hartwell comes in with Candice LeRae, and Indy says that they've got another shot at the women's tag titles. Why?
Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae, as a tag team, have won one single match since January. They just lost the tag title match and then lost the NXT after TakeOver. Why in God's name are they getting another shot? I'll tell you why, because they're the only other women's tag team on the show. It's almost like we shouldn't have made another set of belts. But this was not like my main issue with this whole segment, because to me this is where like everything was just at its dumbest. You know, like I don't understand it, because Dexter Lumis is like just creeping, and I don't know what I can say to just get across that I don't understand how you look at that and be like, oh, Oh, that guy. He really gets the heart going. Oh, look at him. Look at those eyes, those big, beautiful eyes and that mustache. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I thought the progression of this segment was really good in the sense of just like, oh, it's comedy. The heel team is talking and she keeps walking and runs into the baby faces and then her partner's not there, everything. I said this in the edited review and I went and saw it afterwards that Candice did like hit Ember Moon's water into her face, which makes me feel a bit better about them beating her up. But I don't know. I still don't like the idea of two baby faces dragging one heel into a locker room and just beating them up. It's like it's the same sort of thing where I didn't like Kyle O'Reilly just clocking Cameron Grimes at the start. It's like I want my baby faces to be more virtuous than that. But I don't know. I think this is as good a time to bring this up as compared to last week, where Dexter Lumis like walked off with Indy Hartwell in the main event.
Yep.
What happened there?
We don't know.
Like, in theory, they walked into the sunset and can be together. Like, did he just put her down and go like, I'll see you next week then?
That was that.
Yeah, did he like draw her a painting? Did he paint her like one of her French girls or something? Did they go home and get it on? I don't know. It's not been told. Like, what happened when they went backstage? Because like we're just starting from the beginning again. Like they got together at the end of the last episode. So what are they doing now? I need more progression. To me, it just seems like there's a bunch more like skits just for the sake of being funny now. Like, haha, they're in love for some reason, but there isn't actually like a progression of the story. If they were seen together backstage, just kind of being like looking around, sneaky kiss, and then like run off, that's different. That's like a progression, like they're getting together, but I don't know. To me, it's just segments for the sake of like being goofy, and I don't really find many of them very funny.
Yeah, people in the chat saying that there's an exclusive on the WWE YouTube channel. That doesn't count, because if you can't explain it on your TV show, then it doesn't count. Not like they didn't even show the exclusive on the episode which would have been fine if it had been a YouTube exclusive, but they played it on the show this week. That would have explained it. Cool, but they didn't. Stuff on YouTube just doesn't count. I'm sorry. And nor does Talking Smack, and nor does Raw Talk. I'm sorry, but they're just not canon. As much as WWE tries to say that they are, they're not. After that, we had the one more backstage promo with the Way as well, where Johnny and Austin Theory are being all sad, and then Candice and Indy come in. Candice looking obviously very beaten up, which I thought that the effect of her being beaten up was quite funny, quite evocative. And they get very excited after they get told that they can get another women's tag title match, and they go the Way, except Candice isn't joining because she's grumpy. Yeah, it was all right. It was fine. Yep. We should probably move on because we're going to run out of time. We then got Kushida got a video promo about his cruiserweight title win from last week, which was cool. And he then, because he won his title in an open challenge last week, he wants to offer an open challenge this week. So he comes out and offers an open challenge, which is answered by Oney Lorcan, which I thought was a brilliant person to answer this. Not just because it's going to be a great match because it's Oney Lorcan, but also because his wheels have just kind of been spinning since Danny Burch got injured and they had to relinquish the tag titles. So this gives him something to do, which is really good. And it was a great match. Kushida's not wearing boots anymore. I don't know if I like that or not. Sure. Also, did he come out with his Back to the Future thing on? Because I thought it was just the trunks, unless he took it off early and I missed it. Did he have the jacket and stuff on?
I don't recall, honestly. Like, everything kind of happened really quick. Both the trunks and the lack of boots to me is just like it's a lateral move. Like, it's just change for the sake of change. Like, I don't know. It doesn't make him like a more interesting character or wrestler to me. So it's like, it's whatever. I don't have too much of an issue with it one way or the other. But love this match. Love Oney Lorcan. And I love the idea of a Cruiserweight Open Challenge being like a new week-to-week thing. Because What better way to get the most out of Kushida, who's a great wrestler, and his biggest strength has always been wrestling? What better way to get a bunch of these guys on the show in really good matches? What better way to just have good matches on your show? This is a home run idea. It's perfect. Perfect idea. Give me this every single week. There's so many guys on 205 Live, they're doing nothing. Like, this is just, oh my God. Kurt Stallion and Arya Davari and so many guys that they could do this with. It's so easy. Let's do it.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, and it was great match. Kushida got the win. It was quite like a scrappy match, but intentionally so, which I quite liked. And he got the hoverboard lock. He started working over Oney's arm and managed to get the hoverboard lock in to win. Good stuff. After the bell, Legado del Fantasma come out and start beating up Kushida. But before Santos can properly go ham, MSK come out to even the odds, and we're getting a 6-man tag match next week of MSK and Kushida versus Legado del Fantasma, which I'm quite looking forward to, simply because we're getting all of Legado del Fantasma together, which is good, and also MSK and Kushida's a fun team, and they're all really good wrestlers, so again, thumbs up from me. Enjoyed this a lot. And also, I like MSK just being baby faces, because there you go. Also, we are currently joined in the backstage arena. He probably won't want me saying this because I don't know if he's actually supposed to be here. But we are joined by someone who am I going to bring on? Give me a nod or a shake of the head if I'm bringing you on or not. That's a shrug. That's so indecisive. All right. We're joined by Luke. Hey, Luke.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm very well, thank you very much. Excellent show, this. I actually just dropped by because I'm too cheap to send in a hyper chat, but wanted to just. So I was just going to write my hyper chat in the private message and then leave, so you can read it out later.
Well, read it out yourself, Luke.
Oh, okay. Well, it's because I was watching you on the live feed and you were talking about Kushida. And I wanted to ask, Tempest in particular, because I thought you would have some thoughts on this. But I saw a tweet about Kushida that said, like, my man Kushida left New Japan because he wanted to travel the world and not be a cruiserweight. And he's gone to WWE, has not left Florida, and is the cruiserweight champion. And I just I just want a bit more for my boy Kushida.
Yeah. I mean, I love Kushida. I always loved him in New Japan because he was the face of the junior division for 4 or 5 years anyway, and so good in that role. And I knew that when he decided to leave New Japan for WWE, I was like, dude, you're going to be on 205 Live. You're a cruiserweight. Just that's how they're going to see you, because he can't cut a promo and he's not terribly charismatic. You know, it's not like Shinsuke Nakamura, even with his charisma, was not able to break through to the highest level of WWE. You know, he got close and then they pulled him back. But that's with the most charismatic guy ever. And Kushida is pretty close to the opposite end of the spectrum there. All he really had to offer was great wrestling. So to me, that's a guy that's tailor-made to just end up on 205 Live, and that's really disappointing to me.
Pete, do you have any other things you'd like to add on that? And then I'll let you get back to your excellent review.
No, I don't really have anything else to add other than the fact that we're now going to overrun. Thanks for that. Appreciate it, Luke. Was trying to whiz through because we were possibly going to overrun anyway, and Luke decides to come in and add some extra time. Thanks, bud.
Welcome. Bye, guys.
See you later, Luke.
What a lovely guy.
He's great. We got a promo from Mercedes Martinez backstage here saying that in the promo earlier with Dakota and Raquel, Dakota was the one that was speaking for Raquel. Raquel, I need to get her out of your way so that there's nothing stopping going between me and the title. Thought it was really effective. Looks like we're going to get Mercedes versus Dakota match, and then eventually it's going to be a Mercedes versus Raquel match. On board with all of that.
Yep.
It's great.
All good. Progression. Storyline progression. Love to see it.
Absolutely. We then got that Way promo that we mentioned earlier, and we got Ever Rise versus Imperium next, which, as you mentioned on your edited review, is more of an angle than a match, which was an odd angle, though. I'm still not sure what I'm supposed to get out of it, but I'm hoping they explain it next week, where Killian Dane comes out and tries to speak to Alexander Wolf at ringside. They are just kind of talking. They're not getting physical. He's just like, hey, man, what? And then Drake Maverick comes out and starts to beat up Alexander Wolf and actually get physical. And then Dane's like, wait, no, don't do that. And then kind of drags off Drake Maverick to the back because he got physical with Alexander Wolf. And I'm like, well, why is he protecting Wolf? What does he want? I think that's the point. I think we're supposed to question what they want next, but it was a bit strange. And then Imperium won. Cool.
Yeah.
I guess.
So, I mean, what I took away from the angle part of this was like Killian Dane basically coming out and being like, hey, bruh, you stuck your nose in my business last week. We're going to have a quick chat about it, like big, beefy men. And then his like little yappy sidekick ran in and just started throwing hands. And he's like, hey, no, this is not the time for this. This comes later. And like carried him off. I don't know if it's them teasing a reunion of Wolf and Dane. Mm-hmm. It could very well be. Obviously, there's a lot of interplay there because of sanity and whatnot. But I just got the sense of like, we're gonna fight, but I'm telling you that we're gonna fight. We're not gonna fight now, but I'm letting you know it's coming. And then meanwhile, his like little Chihuahua partner came in and he had to like reel him in.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know if Imperium's trying to recruit Dane. I don't know if that's a story they're going to do. And there's also some weird tension between Imperium where it's still like Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner are still giving Alexander Wolf like a bit of a side eye. Like anytime, like when they're doing the entrance, they all at the same time did their, hands behind the back thing. But then after Imperium won, Wolf did it first. And then the other two followed suit afterwards. It's like, oh, they're not in sync anymore. And when they did that, Bartel was like, I don't know about this guy. It's like, well, what are all these bits? Maybe explain some stuff. I don't know. Because for me, it does. The thing is, I enjoy like subtle storytelling like that, but there doesn't seem to be a reason for any of it. Like if they'd have explained that Wolf is becoming a bit unhinged, or he, when Walter's not there, he fancies himself the leader of Imperium or something, and they're like, I don't know about that, Chief. Something like that. That's some cool subtle storytelling, and just having a little bit of a side eye is a really cool way to do that. But I just don't know the reason of them feeling this tension right now, which could do with explaining personally, but that's just me. So we got confirmation that next week we're getting MSK and Kushida versus Legado del Fantasma in the 6-man tag. We're getting the women's tag title match of The Way versus Moon and Blackheart. I think that's next week. And we're getting Bronson Reed versus Austin Theory. And if Bronson Reed wins, he gets a future title shot for the North American Championship. And then we had the main event that we mentioned before of O'Reilly versus Cameron Grimes. I thought this was a decent little episode. Nothing too earth-shattering, but some pretty solid story progression, which is what you want. The stories progress nicely. I'm not a huge fan of Bronson Reed and The Way getting shots again. Like you said, there's the argument of Bronson Reed winning on NXT last week, which is something, but I'm still... It's so soon after Stand and Deliver. It's literally 2 weeks since then, and we're already getting like rematches for the same titles they've already been going for, and there's no like... I think if Bronson Reed was going to get another shot, he should have maybe had to build more to it instead of just beating The Way last week. And that's it. And now sure, he's got to beat Austin Theory again next week. Sure, whatever. But like, if he had more of a journey to get back to that title shot, I think that would have been better. And The Way getting another shot now is just stupid. It's just stupid. I'm just going to say it. But new feuds for the tag titles, the NXT and the NXT women's, I'm on board with. So... Nice. 3 out of 5 share for me. Good stuff. Yeah.
I gave it a 3 out of 5 in the edited review, but I want to say like this is what I want NXT to be. I don't necessarily like, unless there's an actual like killer 5-star match on the show. I don't think NXT really like needs to go above a 3 out of 5. Like 3 out of 5 should be their average, and I'd be very happy with a 3 out of 5 average. If that makes sense. Like I don't want the spectacular and because that's what we supposedly got for like the last 2 years in NXT, where it was too much. They were doing so much all the time to try and counter AEW, and now they can just kind of like take a step back, do their weekly storytelling, and it won't lead to like the most exciting shows every week. But it should lead to a consistent and good show. And that to me is more than enough.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want. Is you want a good, solid show with logical, progressive storytelling that leads to really good payoffs at takeovers. That's what the pay-per-view cycle should be. That's what NXT used to be, and it worked really well. Anyway, let's see what you guys thought of the show. Let's get into your Ultra Chats here. Dean Brereton says, Kyle should stay silent, just play the unwanted hero role, not talking, etc. Personally feel he should be going for the US title from Johnny Average. Not a fan of Gargano. Blasphemy. Think his matches are too formulaic unless Ciampa's involved. Blasphemy.
That's a strong disagree there, Dean. Johnny Gargano, I think, is fantastic in the ring.
Agreed. I'm kind of on board with Kyle not having a huge talking role and just kind of being a more strong and silent type, like Dexter Lumis. All the ladies will be after him. I'm on board with that. Like, this promo it didn't blow me away. I think Kyle is a solid promo, but it just didn't blow me away. This one is all. But hey ho. Blake comes in to say, how long do they sell Cole as injured before his return? Would you keep him off TV until the next takeover to cost O'Reilly against Kross? Or is that too long for a top talent to be off TV? I don't think that's too long for a top talent to be off TV because they've got enough. Top talent to be off TV is a lot of T's in that sentence. I think they've got enough star power behind them to keep it going. With Carl as the new babyface, they've got Kross as the new NXT champion. If they're going to bring Balor back at some point, now they've got, like Io Shirai, Raquel Gonzalez. They've got a lot of these kind of top stars to fill that the star power void. So I don't think it would be too long for him to be off. And I don't know the best way to bring him back, honestly, because I don't really want him to come back. I know he said on, when they were being wheeled into the local medical facility that Cole was saying, you're dead. I'm going to get you, you son of a bitch, or whatever he said. I don't want him to do it, though. I don't want him to have another match. I don't want him to continue that feud out. Yeah.
See, this is the issue now, because before, if you were NXT champion and lost the belt and finished your storyline, you were done. You would go up to the main roster, but that's just not the way that they've been doing it the last couple of years. And it's like, I don't know anymore. Like, because again, you say like Finn Balor, oh, you bring Finn Balor back. What the hell's Finn Balor going to do now? Like, is he just going to go for the title again? Like, I don't know. To me, this is kind of like the dip for this version of NXT compared to years past, where like, this is where you would move on. But they're like, I feel like a parent just kind of being like, 18, you're it's about time you moved down to the house, and maybe if you want to start looking for apartments, but we'll see.
Yeah. Dylan Haggart says, hey guys, first saw you on early Quizzlemanias, Pete, and thought you were a stand-up guy. Thanks. You're cool too, Tempest. Thanks. What are 5 NXT versus main roster dream matches? Me, I want to see Orton versus Ciampa, Walter versus Brock, Cole versus Styles, Gargano versus Drew, and Lumis versus The Fiend. Amazing.
Hard pass on the last one, but I like the idea of the other ones.
Walter Brock.
Yeah. Give me
Yeah.
Give me like MSK against the Usos should be a really fun match.
That's a great shout. Love that. Yes, great idea. Yeah, and give me something like Cole Styles would be amazing. Gargano versus, I'm thinking like put him up against a giant. I know Drew is technically, massive compared to Gargano, but I'm thinking like a top like heel monster, someone. I can't think of a good one right now, but
give me Kyle O'Reilly and Daniel Bryan. There's another one I'd really like to see.
Yeah. Sadie6969 Deegan comes in again to say, me again. Let's be honest, Sarray's original opponent was meant to be either Aaliyah or Casey Catanzaro. What's Sarray's intangible? Also, I'm sorry, boys, but I love the Indian Dexter love story. I have a massive crush on the silent boy. 3 out of 5 show. NXT reviews 4 life. Well, we hope so. The only way to make sure that these NXT reviews do keep going is to watch them. So please do continue to watch them and share them around with everyone that you want to watch it, because that's the way these NXT reviews are going to stick, is if people actually do end up watching them. It probably was going to be Aaliyah versus or Casey, wouldn't it? Against Sarray.
They're really the only bodies left. I don't even know what Sarray's intangible would be. So I'll be honest, I don't really know that much about her yet.
Me neither. No.
This will be a question.
Good wrestler.
Yeah. Good music. I liked her music.
Yes.
Her intangible is good.
Was very good. Yeah. Bacon Rasher comes in again to say, hi again, lads. I'm a huge fan of Grizzled Young Vets and watched Gibson for years in the UK. What are your thoughts on a boy who cried wolf story? Drake does the injury bit now and again, but in the title match, it cost them. Grizzled Young Vets win the belts eventually. Long-term booking. That could be quite fun. I like that.
Yeah.
I like the idea of not necessarily boy who cried wolf, but just baby faces being smart and just being like, we've seen this bit before. We know what you're doing. You can't fool us this time. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, that is a very good point. I'm more than happy with this just being like a fun spot in a match, but baby faces being smart and catching on to their heel tactics is like very good stuff for me. Really like that.
Kevin comes in to say, this episode gives me pre-Wednesday Night War era, when we didn't need to have bangers every week. Instead, we build new stars and show what everyone can do before going into new feuds.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. And Rangers Mayhem says, the show was average. Was Sarray wearing EO's old ring gear? Side note, do you think Rich Swann shows up on Dynamite to promote the pay-per-view this Sunday? That's a good idea, but I don't think he will.
I mean, if I was booking the territory, I would have that happen. Like, yeah, because I mean, whatever. This isn't the AEW podcast, but like a lot of people have kind of complained about how like AEW shows up on Impact a lot, but like it doesn't swing both ways. Like they really haven't promoted Impact's pay-per-view like at all, which I've heard there's like some things here where like TNT wouldn't like if you were promoting another show's show and whatever, but I mean that's sort of thing you need to do if you're going to be in a relationship with people. Like I don't know. Yeah, put Rich Swann on the show. Let's make it happen.
Yes, I agree. But that is all the Ultra Chats for today. Thank you very much, everyone, for submitting them. We really do appreciate it. And thank all of you who've been watching. Really do appreciate it. And I'll say it once again, we really want these NXT reviews to stick around. And the only way they do so is if you guys watch them. So please do continue to watch. Share them around with everyone that you think might enjoy it. Your mum, your grandma, your cat, your dog, everyone. And make sure they watch it, because that's the only way we can have these stick around. But yes, if you're watching on catch up, please press the videos that just appeared on the screen to catch up with more awesome WrestleTalk podcast stuff. And the button in the middle that you make it become a pledge hammer on Patreon. I have been partsFUNknown Pete. I've been joined by Tempest the Wrestler, and that was NXT.